Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is BMT coming at you again. Um, we're definitely going to have to do this one and go over quite an interesting discussion. I know I got the piano thing going and everything. I think that was a pretty good touch. But we got to definitely go at this one on the state of where we're going to have some different views, some different feels about this one. But this is going to be on the manhunt for the high schooler Timothy Simpkins and his judgment. How do we think this is going to play out? We already know that this is going to be a pretty touchy thing. I'm going to play it as best I can. I'm going to play it as best I can. The stuff that I think I can play. Because Lord knows, oh man, yeah, it's just really a lot of stuff to play through. If you are sensitive to certain stuff, I gotta warn you, man. Hey, this might not be the episode for you, but we definitely have to look at where's this all playing out to. Where is this going? You know what I'm saying? Like, how's this going to end for this young man? Will he be alive? Will he possibly be dropped and done and gunned down? Which one? You know, which one? And how do y'all feel? We're joined here with attorney Nichelle, who will also help me with the story. Possible standoff with Simpkins underway now. All right, and we'll be dropping the link that's going to be up to the show later. But we're definitely going to have the conversation. Shout out to everyone's coming through. I used to get bullied at school until my dad and mom told me fight back, so I picked up a glass bottle. Okay, thank you, Suburban Kid. Nichelle, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Greetings, everyone. How are you doing?
All right, Nichelle, let's get it rock and roll, and let's get this underway. I'll be getting all the information ready, and while you're getting your stuff done, go ahead.
Okay, I'll just give you a little background. Mansfield, Timberview is on the border of two cities in the Texas area, right outside of Dallas, a suburb of Dallas, Texas, so to speak. The interesting thing about the Mansfield area, the average house starts at about $300,000. So you're talking $300,000 to $500,000 homes. And then you have the South Arlington area that has a lot of apartment complexes, a lot of Section 8. So about 9:15 this morning, calls started coming in that there was an active shooter at Timberview High School. Now, many of the students started trying to contact their parents, but they had cell phone blockers on at the school. So a lot of the information was delayed because the school had cell phone blockers, but not metal detectors at the school. So we have to wonder about the priorities of the school in the first place. Apparently, a fight broke out between two young men. The teacher simply called for help, thinking it was a regular fight, although it was very brutal. One of the boys pulled out a gun and opened fire. So far.
Do you want me to go ahead and go through with the fight, or no?
All thing I'm going to say is that what you see I'm going to set it up. What you see is a young man. Now, I want you to understand what I'm saying about this area. You have the very wealthy and the poor going to a school together. The young man escaped after he shot 4 people. One of them is saying they're not hurt that bad. They refused treatment. But anyway, just grazed. But anyway, he left in a 2018 Charger. Looks like he has gold teeth. Looks like that might even be a real diamond on his ear. dreadlocks. Parents looked like they were trying to move him to a better area. But the rage of this young man and the idea that he could sneak a gun into the school have a lot of parents reassessing whether or not they can run away from the hood or if they want to live in an area where it's intermingled. So yeah, look at the fight. Look at the rage that this young man has.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get to it. Warning everyone, this will be a graphic. This will be pretty graphic. I'm just letting you know right now. If you are not used to graphic content, this is not for you. Here on BMT, we are showing this clip right now. So let's go ahead and get it underway for the graphic use of showing purposes. Here we go. This is what apparently started the shooting at Timberview High School in Mansfield, is what eyewitnesses are saying. So I guess, of course, the cell phones came out. Fair use, fair use, fair use. This is graphic. Okay, let us begin. Do you hear it?
Hello! Hello! Hello!
TS is so crazy. Like we honestly all scared. This is not my video. It came from a student. If you are at Timberview, please be safe. I love all of y'all, and I hope y'all are somewhere safe right now. So, of course, so let's get to it. Michelle, you there?
Yes.
All right, I got my beer ready. Let's get at it. So, we already see right now which one can we already identify as Timothy. Wait, I think we already know who Timothy is. Pretty much the guy. The other student's not fighting back. It's fair to say that, right?
Right.
The other one is definitely not fighting back. He's pretty much got his. He has his. Hang on, let me see if I can get a better view. Still view of him. I'm sorry. Do not worry. These are 18-year-olds. So, all right. So, the one in the white T-shirt. Can I get a better view of him? Ah, freaking! I'm gonna have to go right. Okay, so the one in the white T-shirt that has his head balled up in there, he's not fighting back. Michelle, let's go ahead and start dissecting. Why are teachers not intervening and stopping this? Go ahead.
I mean, unfortunately, you can see that there seems to be a lack of protocols set up to deal with this type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
She's in panic. She's not instructing the other students to do anything. She's just yelling for help, like she has had no training in these situations. Now, since Columbine, every teacher should have some kind of training when they lose control of the classroom.
Right.
But this teacher is calling for help. There's not a standard, doesn't seem like there's a standard protocol because she has to keep repeating herself over and over again. And she's not willing to get in the middle of it. If it had been back in the day when I was in school, the teacher would have deputized a couple of students and they would have pulled them apart. Break it up! Break it up! That's all you would have heard. Now, maybe they think nowadays that would jeopardize other students. But as we see, standing by, filming, and doing nothing does not de-escalate the situation. She's doing absolutely nothing to de-escalate the situation.
Okay. Now, do you think it would be their best interest? And this has 60.6 views that you can see right down there. And this was done in Timber. This was done in Timberview, Texas. This is Dallas, Texas TV. So this is actually by the news. The news is already on coverage of this. That's the difference, David. You got to learn how to go ahead. You got to use the news, my friend. Use the news. They cover it. So the news is already showing that one, we're seeing two different mindsets. The one child, the one he's not a child. First of all, these are not. First of all, they're not kids. Excuse me. Is that fair to say? They're not kids.
Mhm.
These are actually 18. 18 is not a kid. So I got to stop calling them kids. But two different areas of mindset are meeting. And mind you, I mean, one has they both, as you said, they come from well-to-do. They have some money. Um, do you think the teacher should have a gun in that situation or no?
I mean, I don't think a gun in that particular situation would have helped, but I think having more responsive security guards, the security guards can have guns because this kid was able to shoot up a classroom and run out to his car without being stopped.
Mm.
Now,
I don't think it would have been I don't think it would have been best for the teacher to have a gun either, and take it from somebody who actually does this type of thing. Um, yeah, pepper spray. I would give you the pepper spray. Gun? No, hell no, no. You don't need no damn gun because now you're talking about you got to shoot, and every bullet has to be accountable. You know how, and then if you miss and that bullet goes through a wall, hits somebody else that's probably hiding or probably has nothing to do with it. They might be at a pencil sharpener. Mine, pencil sharpeners are on the wall. So if you miss that bullet and it goes through the wall and it hits another student, you're now liable. This is why I can't go with the gun scenario for giving teachers guns because every bullet, if they're already strenuously hard on police officers who are trained and they don't really be doing that much shooting time, I doubt with a teacher that already has to deal with students, grades, as well as lesson plans, and now you want them to have hand training with the firearm. Nah.
no, that's too much.
Yeah, that's too much. And you ain't paying me enough. And I got a family at home. Yeah, okay. Now you're just shooting in the clouds of. All right, Michelle. I want you to stop, and you got to deal with 120 students a day. Yeah. That's too much. But I feel like there should have most likely have been better procedures for security. You know,
Oh, definitely.
Go ahead.
I mean, when you have someone that's going, hello, there's a fight in this classroom, hello. I mean, again, it's like, where's your training in de-escalating the situation and getting an effective response? Like, I need help immediately. There should be a code at the school. I mean, if a cashier has training to call out a code that can hurry up and get security guards to the front of the register, why don't they have that in school? It's a very simple thing to train them in. Okay, this is the level of violence in the classroom in which you actively need people to stop what they're doing and descend upon that classroom. Like all security guards, any buffed up men or women that can pull kids apart should have been there within 2 minutes. But it didn't happen. And now you also have the added fact that this young man was able to leave out of the school, get in his car, and endanger other people in the city. And, right now, the families at that particular school are at a reunification site away from the school so that they can pick up their kids, make sure their kids okay. People can find out who was hurt, who was traumatized. But bear in mind, come 3:00 this afternoon, there are going to be a whole bunch of little black boys running around the area with dreadlocks. That is, if they don't catch them before, high school are released, there's the potential for a lot of young black men to be wrongfully detained. And even now, because of his age, there are a lot of young black men under the age of 25 that could be mistakenly picked up. They've released the make model of the car that they believe that he left in with the license plate number. But again, it's a 2018 silver Charger. How many brothers are driving around in a Charger?
So believe it or not, and this is the thing about it, let's go ahead and start cutting at it. I want to read some of the comments. Thank you for everyone who's coming through. Fair use and warning, it is graphic what we are showing you, but we are going through the news of what is happening right now with the manhunt for Timothy Simpkins, this 18-year-old young man who has shot 4 people and injured others. I'm not calling him no kid. Y'all can kiss my butt if y'all think I'm gonna call him a kid. I'm not doing it because ain't no child. No, but I know some people are gonna say, well, BMT, they do this to a white child. They call him the innocent card. Why are we not giving him the innocent card? Listen, dude, I don't give them the innocent card either. Like if you lucky, I don't run the news with Michelle. I would be. Ain't nobody getting. Listen, if you grown to bring a gun to school, then you grown for whatever actions come to you. You know what I'm saying? The other child wasn't. That other young man wasn't even fighting back, and he got slammed on there, and he got beat very viciously and savagely, while the other guy was calling him all kind of names and calling out all kind of gang signs. We definitely know that this guy is definitely gang affiliated because he was calling out blood, whatever kind of stuff. I don't know why they call out blood while they're swinging their fists, but I guess it's their battle cry. One guy, shout out to Anthony Marie, says this: what if the teacher is the one who is pregnant? Then she shouldn't interfere, correct? She probably has a walkie-talkie. That's why she's calling for help. The aggressors using gang language is, as most kids know, that if you interfere in a gang fight, you may be targeted next. So to stay called for help and stay out of the way unless you know for sure you can defuse the situation. My best answer to a lot of these things, and I like to equip people with these, is I like to equip people with gel pepper spray. You can go get it at Walmart. Michelle, I'm sure you've seen these before. They got them in black. They got them in pink. Very non-lethal. Very non-lethal. Comes out, spray the person, let them roll on the ground, riveting, blind and stuff, and right there. You can hold this on your wrist for your defense. It's easy to turn. See? Turn it, boom. Aim it at the person. Get back. Stop. Spray. Spray. You got 25 sprays. If you can't stop that person with 25 sprays, then Jesus must want them. Like they are on a mission. After 20, if you get down to 25 sprays, I don't know what to tell you. But literally, that's all y'all got. That's a trip to the cafeteria with some cold milk and some Dawn detergent, and to wash all that out. But literally, that's the most non-lethal way. But probably literally, if they're fighting, I know the other kid might get sprayed, but hey, the other one going to get hit too. He going to get sprayed, and y'all might have a better chance for him before he can run. He going to be burning. He ain't getting that far with pepper spray. That's the BMT answer for the solution. I think they should start giving, having the teachers and faculty write up for pepper spray and the usage of pepper spray. Allow them to know, hey, like I'm going to be having pepper spray equipped to the faculty. In case something happened. I'm not sure how you feel about that, Michelle, but I feel like that's a safer route for like de-escalating some of these things. Whenever they start getting really bad, hey, stop. I'm gonna spray. I'm gonna spray pepper spray.
I mean, that's a viable alternative in one sense, but always bear in mind we live in a very litigious society. Someone's going to try to litigate that.
You can't have it both ways. I get what you're saying, but you can't have it both ways because at least one, If that boy, while he was swinging on the other boy, if you would have ran up, you don't have to have much strength, but just take it. You're done. Back away. Get everybody else and run out the classroom. Once you spray that, the other kid at least might have a chance to run away. You didn't shoot him. You didn't stab him. You just sprayed him. You got out. You know what I'm saying? So when you have that kind of energy, you know what I'm saying? I feel like they give that to women, small women, right? Pepper spray, walking through the parking lot. I feel like why can't they get that to faculty? You know, it's literally non-lethal. Let's go ahead over to the news bits that was passed along and shown. All right. Texas high school shooting injures multiple suspect in custody. Okay, so he's in custody. Arlington police say so. He's already in custody. Let's see what can we get out of this. So he's already in custody. That is the school. Wow, I thought that would be a crappy, dinky school.
Nope. I told you it's a very affluent area. $500,000 homes or more.
So okay, so let's look at this. All right, so first of all, this ain't no crappy school. This is a pretty nice school. Look at the parking lot, and I can take it. That's another part of the school right over there. And I don't think that's part. I think it's probably part of school. So this is probably all the school ground. So, first of all, for the school to be that big, it's a pretty big school. So they have to have quite a substantial amount of students and people there. Is that good that they're mixing the different economic background children together? Yes or no? I know that's a jacked up way to ask, but is that good mixing kids from one diversity of a background with another diversity of a background? Is that something that they should do, or they should probably say, classism? What's your thoughts? Let me see. I think Michelle, she probably fell off. Let me go check. Okay, she did fall off. Whenever she get back up here. All right, let me get back to that. So while she's doing that, I'm gonna let me get this going. So that's the building. As you can see, they already got the Red Cross out there. Man, the Red Cross got out there pretty quick, and they already got it being served. They already got the people being walked out. Check to see if anybody's okay. You see, they got the drones. Now they have the drones floating around to try to see if they can find him. Maybe he might be back in the parking lot. But that's pretty interesting that they got drones floating around to see what's going on. They got a back entrance. So they already got the people going to the back entrance. That's the police. Yep. Okay. School bus. They're checking through the school buses, talking to any friends. Because one, you already know that there is a gang affiliation involved with this. So being that there's a gang affiliation, they don't know what they're stepping into. But this is very interesting how this scenario is playing out. I don't know why it's not playing. Whether we do that. There we go. Got Michelle back. All right, Michelle. Welcome back.
Hey, sorry about that. I was just trying to see which attorney haven't been able to verify, but this kid was not dumb. He actually
the Vegas one said he was rich. He's not a hood kid. Thank you, Vegas. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This kid had the wherewithal to contact an attorney and turn himself in.
Wait. Pause. This kid had enough sense to go contact an attorney and turn him. What? Gang members are knowing to contact attorneys and go. Mind blown.
mean, you have to understand that a lot of these parents in that areas over by where I used to live, you got mostly you have two parent households where both parents are working, whether it's stepfather or stepmom, both of them are working. This is the same area where TK lived. That's the teenager that jacked up one of his friends and wound up killing him. He's serving over 40 years in jail. The girls that were there that unlocked the door so the robbers could get in are serving 20 years each. So this is not, this is not the Cosby Show kind of families, but they are many of these people, some of them are living in Section 8 housing because these are the houses that have 4 bedrooms. I'm not saying that he's one of those. I'm saying that you have a hodgepodge of people in that area where keeping up with the Joneses is very much on the minds of the parents as well as the students. I don't know about y'all, but he's driving a 2018 Charger at 18.
So let me get it straight. And thank you for that. He's not a gang member, bro. Anyone can say that. So let me get this going on.
Put his picture up there, Joe. Put his picture up there.
So, I want you to understand this.
Put his picture up, and then let them see why we say he looks like he has gang affiliation.
All right. Let me grab it.
Now, looks can be deceiving.
Okay, there we go. Let me see. Did they got the picture of him? Here you go. Timothy, right there. I'm gonna grab another picture. For you. Timothy, George Simpkins. He got the grill. He got the earring. I get y'all saying, "Hey, Joe, don't stereotype them." I got a newsflash for a lot of y'all. Black people, when we see certain stuff on other black people, we do that very well. We look at each other like, yeah, gang member. I'm sorry, y'all don't think y'all think white people do it. We do it too. And I'm not gonna play no games and say, "Oh, I think he might be it." Hell nah, bro. You throwing up all kind of ninja signs and shit and claiming all kind of different tongues and languages. Hey, bro, you gang member. I'm not. I don't give a shit. I'm not on that liberal mindset of, maybe he might be a Christian, serving the blood of. No. Sorry, y'all think we live in a perfect world, but I've lived in Page Street on Dorchester, up in Springfield, up in Manchester. Sorry, when you hear or you see certain type of behaviors or people carry themselves a certain type of way, and I'll pass it over to Michelle. You're going to look at it like, okay, bro, are you gang affiliated? But why are you portraying yourself a certain type of way? Why are you acting a certain? Are you trying to be recruited? Because you definitely doing a damn good job. We definitely know that you can take a person out the hood and they still want that type of energy. Let me know if I'm wrong in saying that, Michelle.
No, you're not wrong. And I always tell people there's a difference between the hood and being poor. There are certain rules in the hood. And I will tell everyone, the rules in the hood can guide you through life. But if you are just poor, you get out of that poor mindset and you didn't understand the rules of how you got out of being poor. And now you have money, you have no coping skills to deal with your environment. And when you get upset, you go back to what you may have seen or heard or you think is the way that you're supposed to act now that you have money enough to access a gun.
I think that's been a big issue for a lot of black people is you'll get it where one class will work to get out, and they might get the middle class, and you'll have the few that might get recognized for a talent or a gift, but they still have that kind of project mentality. And when we talk about a project is an area of lower base economy grade. You're not meant to grow in the projects. You're meant to be confined. So their mindset is confined to a certain type of ideology and setting. This is true that this is why even as black people, we have to separate ourselves from the blacks and the niggas. It's been a constant battle since Jesus. You know, same thing from probably white people, but trying to separate themselves from trailer park people, as they call them, trailer trash, and the white folks. I know y'all be thinking like, oh man, that's not true. They're all united. No, they treat their poor white trash like shit. They be like they call them that. Hell, they don't even like being called trailer trash. So understand, like we're dealing with this black man right here. This 18-year-old. The suspect has been identified as 18-year-old Timothy George Simpkins. Police say he likely fled the scene in 2018, silver Dodge Charger, with license plate. They gave out his license plate, and anyone who spots him, like there was only so far he was gonna be able to go. I'm pretty, like you said in the show, he probably has a mom, stepdad, or dad, or whatever he got going on, and they're like, "Listen, boy, turn yourself in. We're gonna have to just take this hit. I will just get to." I'm like, you don't hear. Listen, Michelle, this is the first time I'm ever hearing. This is like some power shit. That a kid does a whole school shooting and then runs off in his getaway car, and comes back with an attorney and turns himself in. That's like some high level Beverly Hills white boy shit. I ain't never heard of a nigga doing that shit.
Right?
This is the first time. I mean, goddamn, won't Biden do it all? Goddamn, I don't know what these PPP loans are doing for y'all, but damn, they done changed the game. Shit. Go ahead and show take over. Shit. I ain't never heard of these niggas are really. Shout out to you, Black. Shout out to you, Timothy, for having enough sense. You said, I'm not going to go shoot out. I'm not running to the fort. I'm not running to go play 2K. I'm going to get me a lawyer, and I'm going to go get me attorney Michelle and her friends and go turn myself in. You must have been watching BMT. You must have been watching BMT. God damn it. We did a good job, Michelle. We got one person to goddamn think common sense. Go ahead.
All thing I can say is he's been charged so far with 3 counts of assault with a deadly weapon. According to the Texas Penal Code, assault with a deadly weapon is a second-degree felony and punishable by fines up to $10,000 per occurrence and a prison sentence of 2 to 20 years. Now, the enhancement will be because it's at a high school, public school. So there's an enhancement statute for that. So, it's, again, you're talking about a young man at 18 years old that is willing to throw away at least, you got 3 people, out of school, 30 years of his life. 30 years of his life over what?
Over getting beat up?
Yeah. That, I'm sure the parents are going to have to shell out a good,
that's
$70,000. Yeah, $70,000 for a good defense attorney.
Stop doing cardio. This sounds bad.
Which means, hey, they're going to have to get a mortgage on the house, or bring out all the credit cards. However they're going to do it. But this is not going to be a simple little thing where, okay, if they're offering him a plea deal, they're going to make sure he's an old man by the time he comes out, or at least middle-aged.
Especially in that damn text. Listen, I'm going to let you know right now. My kids already know this. You got the balls to go ahead and play Fortnite in school and shit. Hey, bro, that's between you and Jesus and that judge. I'm only going to come there one time. I'm going to say, hey, I raised them to the best of my abilities. Best of luck, nigga. Because don't look to me. I'm not doing shit. You better go ahead and start being your best lawyer you can be. I'm not about to put no second mortgage on my house. I'm not. Y'all, some of y'all are good. Some of y'all are good. I'm sorry.
No. What is so?
I'm not
What is
putting out my kid for something stupid that they did. I got bullied in school. I got through it. Listen, I don't think it's very rare that you hear about a black school shooter. That's that. I'm gonna be fair. I know y'all. I know we have everything. I know everybody always talk about the Chicago shit and all that stuff. But really, black kids don't really shoot up schools like that.
They don't shoot up inside during school hours, but yeah.
We shoot outside the school, down the park, at the playground or the basketball court. We don't usually shoot up where we eat at and sleep and go and do stupid stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I'm saying. This kid has broke the algorithm. The show. When the black kids shoot up inside the school?
Look, like I said, you got a lot of parents that are trying to move their kid up. They're trying to move their kid up. And I had one friend. Both he and his wife are attorneys. And we were on a project with like 100 lawyers, and he was complaining about his teenage son trying to act black. And he said, I'm really confused. We are trying to raise our kid like middle class kids. And, his behavior is like someone who doesn't have all the things he has. And I want to beat his ass, but my wife says that middle class people don't beat their sons' asses. And I said, excuse me, everyone in this room, because there were 100 lawyers and only about 5 black lawyers. I said, raise your hand if your father beat your ass. Every white man raised his hand. That this whole notion in the African American community that they're going to take your kids if you discipline them, or your kids are going to go upside your head if you discipline them, is one of the reasons why you see us escalating to that behavior that we used to say black people didn't do. Because we're giving them a pass on things like, you need to be afraid of the police officer on the street. No, you need to be afraid of mama coming upside your head. See, if mama come upside your head enough, you ain't gonna be afraid of that police officer, because you're already gonna know what it means when you disobey the rules. You wouldn't be in the situation where if my mama knew I was doing this, my mama gonna come upside of my head, and guess what? When my daddy find out, he gonna jump in because he done pissed me off too, because my mother had to take disciplinary action. But you got too many brothers that are sitting up there blaming their mothers and blaming their baby mama for being too hard on these young black men. And we're so busy in the African American community blaming each other for why these kids are turning out like they turning out, that we are not developing any plans.
Into the black man is not beating the black child. Don't I have to be in the home? Oh Lord, are you turning this into?
You don't have to be in the home. No. I don't say a lot of good things about my biological father.
No, Michelle.
No. But when my biological father found out I disobeyed my adopted mother and got a car and drove it across from North Carolina to Texas, he hopped on a plane to personally come and cuss my ass out. It was not a matter of you were told not to do something, you did it, you put your life in danger. He was not in the home, but he flew from Los Angeles, California to DFW, rented him a car, and came to the house to beat my goddamn ass.
So wait. So listen, if you think that because a dad is not there, that's why the black parent, listen, dude, it's choice. You're not gonna say.
I didn't say that.
Because then I'm gonna say, then what's going on with black girls wearing half naked shit? Then we're gonna say, well, ask the mama. Then I'm gonna say, ask the mama.
Again, that's what I'm saying. We're too busy doing blame. We are too busy blaming.
Why throw that shot? I mean, I'm just saying because this is on Timothy George Simpkins' actions of shooting at other kids. So he got his ass whooped in school. Hey, shit happens, B. You go
Right.
take karate.
You heard what you said.
Well,
you heard what you said, and you heard what other people have said in the comments. The long and short of it is, this young man should have been more afraid of mama and daddy. They trying to get him a leg up in life and send him to a really good high school. That school has 1,700 kids. The curriculum is considered one of the best in the area. And you at that school, you supposed to be learning, and you sneaking a gun in? Now, that's something he should have been afraid of his parents. I'm not saying his parents could still be together right now.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone who's coming through. We are now getting the story correct, and we're going to show it. So let's actually do this. Let's go ahead and get this out the way. Let me go ahead and knock this out the way. We're going to show the story. Again, warning. Again, fair use. Thank you, everyone. We actually now have it correctly. That first of all, I'm going to show this one more time. Get it over there. Again, this is by the Dallas, Texas TV News. Again, this is we're going to go ahead and show this. Let me get this out the way. So, here we go. Timothy Simpkins is the kid in the white T-shirt who is getting beat up.
Hello.
That's Timothy right there getting beat up. I'm going to say this right now. I don't agree with him getting beat up, but I damn sure don't agree that literally he took a gun and started shooting at people. For what reason? You're going to have a hard time. And I know people going to say, well, there shouldn't be bullying in school. Well, guess what? Listen, that still doesn't give you the right to go do some school Columbine shit. That still doesn't give you the right to. I'm getting tired of these goddamn mental health breakdown kids having some kind of issue and shit, and they starting to take it out on everybody else because life didn't go their way. I was a black kid, grew up in a fucked up home, then wasn't the prettiest, wasn't the smartest, had plenty of times I was angry. Not one time it ever crossed my mind to do anything of bringing any type of weapon to school to harm other people. I at least had the sense after a while to fight back. I just started fighting back. Win or lose, I fought back. I don't approve of this shit. I don't give a fuck how much money his parents and mommy or daddy have. I don't give a fuck about their goddamn background. We know rich kids are just as fucked up. And we know some poor kids who have it worse that got to wear the same pair of pants and jeans and shoes. And guess what? They don't do this kind of crazy shit. So technically, that's something going on that is between mental health of him and his home. And I'm not using race. I'm just calling out for what it is. And I'm not using no fucking goddamn, well, mom or dad. But shit. If an 8-year-old can go retain a goddamn lawyer, I'm pretty sure mom and dad ain't too far behind. So I'm going to push back at where, well, if the father was there or maybe mom should have did this. Because at this point, when do we start holding these little dummies responsible for what they do? And I hope the judge does throw everything at him. Whether he be white or black, Hispanic, Chinese, or he be certain type of coalition of whatever sexuality he belongs to. I don't feel bad for him. Do I feel like the teacher or the whoever? I feel like the staff should get this. I really feel like they should be getting these. Pepper spray. You can get it in pink, or you can go ahead and get it in black or turquoise or wherever the hell you want to get it in. I have no problem with it. But I got no problem with that. I don't. What he did was fucked up.
I know I said that the parents are so busy. Parents. I didn't say men, I said women. Parents are so busy playing the blame game. And at the end of the day, what are we teaching this next generation? That we have kids that are going to school. Some are going to get a good education. Others, it's just where they got to go just because mom and daddy told them they had to get out of the house. Maybe it's the only place they can get a lunch that day. I don't know. But the direction of our students seems tainted. We've gone backwards. We backslid to the times when, we were first integrating the schools. Because yes, there are a lot of calls from parents who are really, really upset considering the amount of property taxes that they're paying. They ain't cheap.
But what does the property tax have to do with what he just did? We are literally
because your property. Think about it like this:
you're trying to throw money out at it, but money.
No, it's not about throwing money out. It's going. If I'm paying like $12,000 a year in property taxes for my kid to go to a school, I expect the security at the school to secure my kids. How do
you secure a gun situation like that? How do you?
You have metal detectors. Seriously, you have to understand. Metal detectors were a big thing. That Fort Worth, Texas, which is in the same county as the school is in, they started putting metal detectors at the government facilities. Which schools are part of the government facilities, because a judge got shot.
Wait, pause. Somebody asked a question. Somebody said a pepper spray ain't stopping it. I'm glad you asked that question. First off, let's go over here. Let's see. I like to teach. One kid is right there. Blind spot right there. Blind spot right there. Blind spot right there. So you're telling me the teacher can't run up literally as far as these. Let's go ahead, because I like when the non-experienced people actually talk to people with experience. You're welcome to BMT. I got time today. So right here, let's see. Caution under circumstances, do not puncture. In case, let's see, 12-foot range. 12-foot range. Teacher could have shot right from here. Teacher could have shot from right here. From hell over here. Teacher could have shot right 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 here. Now, when y'all keep saying, don't stop it, but listen, dude. At some point, damn it, the excuses be coming out like shit out my ass.
Joe, let me correct something real quick.
It did something.
Look, let me correct something real quick. People are on here saying he could have shot the teacher. He did shoot a teacher. He shot a 25-year-old male teacher.
Woo!
He shot a teenage girl. Her age has not been released. And he shot a 15-year-old boy who is in critical condition right now.
Thank you. So don't you think if somebody would have stepped in and stopped everything, he probably would have had some more time to reevaluate some stuff? I'm just telling y'all what I know from times that I've stepped in on fights where people were getting jumped. And I'm not sure. See, that's why we can tell the people who have the experience in actual fighting versus the ones who don't. Spraying, hey, you okay, man? Let's get you up over there. Now we're getting him looked at. Mind you, nobody helped him, so he had his rage. And I'm not giving him no excuse. But I'm saying, if you are the faculty member, y'all, not too long ago, I heard a lot of people say, well, get the teachers guns. Weren't they saying that in the show?
Yeah, they were saying that, but these were people who were not mindful of the classroom situation. They're not mindful of the amount of training that needs to go into place before you give anyone a gun that can take someone's life. Now, there are a lot of situations where you get a hot hand. There can be situations in which these teachers have to move between the kids' desks. If you give a teacher a gun, what is she supposed to do? Keep the gun at her desk, locked in her desk? I mean,
And
how effective is that?
I'd rather
You
take
know,
it with a kid with a pepper spray rampage and a goddamn gun rampage. And that teenager, if that y'all know how much strength a 15-year-old or 14-year-old gets running up on a teacher? I would rather take my chance with he got pepper spray and somebody out there armed than having to deal with that. I mean, y'all gotta pick y'all healing down, man. And I mean, the thing about it, we're trying to come up with uses. See, we know one thing. If that kid were to get shot, they're going to be a racial. Well, why didn't they bring him back alive? Why did they do this? Why didn't they do that? So when you have solutions for the answer, well, he had a gun. Well, he didn't have a gun during that fight. Now,
and you do have the idea that in Texas, you can plead self-defense, not only if you're protecting yourself, but if you're protecting someone else from imminent bodily harm. So, yeah. So you don't have to just sit up there and be like, oh, okay, I can't get involved because I might get sued.
Wrong.
You got the Good Samaritan provision that works both in trying to save a person from imminent bodily harm, and you have the statutes that go for self-defense as well. The criminal statutes.
Nobody's going to fault the teacher for just at least attempting to spray gel pepper spray, which is why I'm bringing this up, because I'm giving you a solution to a problem, because we already seen teachers get into cross fights. So I'm giving a solution to how to have handled the Timothy situation. I didn't say use the taser. I said use the pepper spray. And at least if you would have hit them both, even if you would have hit them both, it's okay. They got milk, plenty of milk in that I'm pretty sure they got plenty of milk in that school. I'm pretty sure they got Dawn dish detergent in that school. And they can just walk them to the cafeteria or the nurse's office and flush it. Hell, they could have walked them to the science room and flushed their eyes out. And literally have one of the boys already detained. And take the other one, hey man, we got you. We got you, man. You got to start coming up with solutions. Because we already know this is going to be a gun talk coming down the line. Will it not, Michelle? But if literally you have where somebody with their own right mind, pick a color, stop the problem, hey, that teacher disarmed that kid. Stop that kid.
I mean, I know some people feel like you shouldn't have metal detectors at a school because you don't want them to feel like they're a prison. But you can't get into the White House. You can't get into Congress. You cannot get into any courthouse without going through a metal detector. Hell, you can't even go in and, do vehicle registration in many cities without going through a metal detector. So if government employees are going to protect themselves from someone coming into their work environment with a gun, why don't we want the same thing for our kids?
Like I said, man, like I don't get it, man. High school security guards have been fired, charged, and sued for using non-lethal methods and intervening in fights. Parents will sue you quick and fast. It's like, and thank you for that mental health. It's like people are like, well, that's my kid. Well, so are those kids in there. They have a right for protection. We're not going to pretend, and we got to understand, man. It seems like there's a lot of entitlement where you want your cake and eat it too. It's a lot of Monday night quarterbacking about scenarios, about the woulda, shoulda, coulda. And honestly, in the ideologies of literally 4 people got shot when it probably could have been already squashed and handled.
Okay, for Nate Turner, who sits up there and says, that boy doesn't have a dad at home. This is the result of blacks taking their marching orders from pro LGBT STD BLM, homie. Okay, one more time. If mama by herself is able to hold down the fort and pay, $2,500 a month just for the mortgage, add on $1,200 for the property taxes, then I'm going to say kudos to that mom. Kudos to that mom. I feel sorry for the man that let that woman slip away. Okay? Because we are not talking about a area in which, yes, there are some Section 8 in that area, but you're not going to be on Section 8 driving a 2018 Charger. You got some super duper skills in hiding money. And if that's the case, they were hiding money and living on Section 8, then guess what? There are going to be some more charges being filed.
If someone beat me like that, I would have got him back too, but not at school. Thank you for the honesty, Chance Groves. I don't know if he was the one who got beat up. Yes, he was the one that got beat up. And he came back to be understand. And this is the thing about it. A lot of these people who do commit these atrocities, they have been beaten up or been, hurt or harmed. School is one of the most vicious places that can make you or break you. And we're finding out.
Look at the people that he shot. He was not getting his ass whooped by a 15-year-old boy. It doesn't look like. You understand what I'm saying? That 15. If the aggressor in that fight was 15, then the parents been feeding him some Cheerios and some collard greens. That was a big person that was beating him up. The people that were shot, there was a female that was shot, there was a 15-year-old boy that was shot, and there was a teacher that was shot. So in other words, he shot the wrong mofos, okay? He didn't shoot the guy that was beating him up.
He shot everything else but the person that he was supposed to shoot. Ain't that some shit? Like, the thing about it is this, y'all. Like, I mean, it's pretty bad. The scenario that this is in. He's already been taken into custody. Again, this sounds like a guy who was a gamer, probably stayed and played video games and all that other stuff. And from what one person said in the chat, he was going around and claiming gang signs and trying to propagate. And this is something I'm probably going to have to talk about. There's a lot of people, a lot of teenagers, their parents put them in a better economic reach. And what happens is that they feel in kind or in turn that they're attracted to that look of being a rough and tough thug or hooligan or gang member or something like that. And they want to have that cool stuff. That's why y'all see a lot of these kids like, wait, why are you acting like this? It's like that Malibu wanted. Like, you come from a nice home. You have a nice education. You have opportunities. Why is it that what is so appealing to go through some type of suffrage that you don't have to go through? A suspect who fled after opening fire inside a Dallas high school was since students and staff running for their lives was taken into custody Wednesday. Authorities said Arlington police say cell phone video obtained from the student shows that the student broke out inside of a classroom at Timberview High School early Wednesday before 18-year-old Timothy George Simpkins opened fire. The suspect, who considered to be armed and dangerous, then fled the scene and is believed to be driving a 2018. Let's see what else. He parked, law enforcement parked SUVs outside the suspect's home on Harris Ridge Drive in Arlington and has since been maintaining a presence outside of the streets for several hours. Law enforcement says multiple people were hurt and transported to hospital. Arlington Mayor Joseph told Fox News by found that two people were still in surgery while the third was treated and has since been released. Authorities were processing students from the school as parents waited about 4 miles away at the Performing Arts Center, which we saw students will eventually be bused there to reunite with their family. I'm gonna tell you right now, he's gonna be hit with the full extent of the law, or like Michelle said, he better have a damn good lawyer. He better have like literally for him to even come close to grace because of the area of where they live in is going to drive his family damn well near broke. I'm not listen. I'm not taking that L for one of my wayward flock choosing to fuck up their life. I'm like, I love you. I'll send you $50 on your books a month. Good luck, boy, because you.
You know, this is going to be interesting because the kid is 18.
Okay.
At 18, the parents do not necessarily, notice what I'm saying, not necessarily owe a duty of support. It's one of those blurry lines. He's still in school, but he is 18. So he can be definitely charged as an adult. But the question becomes, are they going to be able to appoint him a court-appointed attorney? I mean, he's already lawyered up. So my assumption is that lawyer is assuming that mom and daddy going to be paying for it. So these are things you really and truly are going to be looking at, because this is the area I want you guys to understand. There was a legend in that area just 3 years ago. 3 years ago. It was the rapper named TK that killed a fellow classmate at his home trying to rob him. And he became very famous for his rap song that said, "I can't beat the case, so I'm going on this race." And then, so I've said this before, TK was not raised by a single mother. He was raised by a hard-working father who left the mother in Los Angeles and came to Texas to try to give his son a new life. And he moved into the area, but in order to maintain that lifestyle in that area, he had to work 2 jobs. So there are 24 hours in the day. If your priorities are on, working 2 jobs and you're gone from the house 14, 15, 16 hours a day, doing double shifts and all that, who's raising your kid? Are you moving into a new area, but still allowing the streets to raise your kid? You're still going to have problems. I don't care if you're a male or a female. That is what happens in poor areas, that you have the streets raising the kids because the parents cannot afford to be at home to watch them after they get out of school. And these are things we don't talk about. We have people that say, oh, you need to have 2 incomes. Well, you guys went from living in $100,000 home to living in a $250,000 home. Now you need to have 2 incomes to maintain that home. But do you have the time to maintain the family? Now, I hear a lot of people talking about homeschooling. And what I have noticed is homeschoolers, by definition, one parent is at home teaching the kids, and they survive on 1 income. So the people that are homeschooled are usually, middle class. So yes, you can maintain a middle class income on middle class standard of living on 1 income. It's just a matter of how much floss you want to put on it. I mean, I'm sure that mom and dad are sitting up there going, why did we get this child this 2018 Charger? Looks like it could have been a 16th birthday present. But that money, you should have been focusing him in on sports, physical training, so he could get off to college, maybe. But that's no longer an issue.
I want to. Do you want to open up the panel or no?
Yeah, let's open up the panel because I see Trailer down there talking.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just don't put on Nate Turner.
Oh, they turn. Listen. Oh, shout out to my mod. The rest of these other mods, they about to lose their wrenches today. I can promise you that they about to lose their wrenches today. Like these motherfuckers ain't worth shit. So they about to lose their wrenches. I know the mod that took care of that, but the rest of these mods, they ain't worth the fuck. So they about to definitely lose their wrenches because they ain't really doing shit. We're just coming around just to tell me about the shit. Like I'm getting tired of like letting motherfuckers try to eat off of my shit, bro. Like I'm really getting tired. Like these smaller channels getting annoying as fuck that y'all eating off of me. But I'm getting really annoyed with y'all. Like we about to have a reckoning of who we need. Um, so y'all can come up, say y'all piece, please. You don't have to be. You can be anybody. But yeah, you can come up. Because like I said, we're going to definitely have to have a meeting on what we need around our channel or not. But I definitely don't need a lot of these motherfuckers. They definitely don't make my channel or grow my channel or do anything for my channel. So we definitely need to have a talk about that later on in the show. If you want to come up, this is not no baby daddy issue. This is not no goddamn political talk or anything. This is actually talking about that. Y'all, please stay on topic if you can mentally do.
No, this has to do with, like I said, we so busy doing the blame game on where are these bad kids coming from rather than coming up with solutions. Think about this school had 1,700 kids paying a lot of money in property taxes to fund that school. There were a lot of parents that left work today that got distracted at work because they couldn't communicate with their kids because the school decided to block the cell phones. I don't think that's a good idea. I think parents should teach their kids discipline. I think the cell phone should be accessible in case of an emergency. That's why the parents bought the cell phones in the first place. Right. So, if you can't put parental controls on your phone and send the kid to school with the phone for emergencies, and I think that's what parents are going to have to start doing. Parents are also going to have to start really considering schools are dangerous. They can't protect your kids. You're going to have to make sacrifices. What is wrong with homeschooling? You sit up there on one hand and say, Black students cannot be taught at these schools. And whether we like it or not, all public schools are controlled by the majority. So if we have a problem with public schools not doing an adequate job teaching our kids, then as I said, there's homeschooling. You can sacrifice and teach your kids from home or change your path so that you're doing more work from home opportunities, or maybe you're doing Uber Eats around the kids' school schedule. There are ways that you can do it so that your kids are not being raised by the streets. Because I don't care how much your zip code is paying in property taxes, you can wind up prone to this type of stuff. And my heart goes out to the parents whose kids were shot and the parents who were afraid they didn't know if their kids were alive or dead.
Shout out to God dang it. Shout out to Chance Grows Biz. I don't think he's a bad kid, especially if he was the one beat up. It's human nature to want to get someone back, especially when you are a male. Okay. And I think we also have other people coming on in. Also, shout out to Mr. Brown, Waverly Brown. Not condoning this, but he could have at least shot the person who beat him up.
Thank you.
So I'm like, yo, dude, if you at least got the person, if you at least help beat him up or some stuff like that, or some shit, like, hey, it is what it is. I'm not calling for the parents on this one. Like, you're 18. You're 18. You know what the fuck you're doing at that point. Either you're gonna. I don't know if we got some kind of issues where you don't want to stand up. If he would at least try to fight back, but you came back and you shot other people, and we're gonna go ahead. I think I pulled conservative up first, and then we put up Brother Speak. Like I said, Nat Turner, you're definitely banned out of my channel, bro. I know other channels, other goddamn right wing panels, y'all like to entertain him because he says shit about black people all the time. That's why a lot of y'all channels are troll channels to me. That's why I don't get fucked with y'all channels. I'm gonna be honest. But go ahead. Conservative. Go ahead and pull the trigger, man.
Hey, what's going on? It's funny thing you said that speaking of, talking shit about black people, I feel like this is getting swept out of the news just as fast as it got swept into the news. Because like I can pull up like I'm looking at it play out on Twitter, and I see screenshots of people talking about, the white man shot up another school and all these got to do something about these white men. And
Hold on.
then
Now,
30
David,
minutes later, the image in the
you saw me give the accurate. I had to tweak it a little bit. I said, "Oh, it wasn't the kid in black that was the shooter. It was the kid in white that was actually shooter." So you saw me tweak it, and I'm keeping it away from too much on the race. I'm just like, "Hey, man, this is getting fucked up." But go ahead, bro. You got the trigger.
No, in the end, I wasn't pointing anything at you whatsoever. I was just kind of talking about how this is going to get handled because in the beginning, this morning when I woke up, well, not when I woke up, but this morning, this news story was a national story. By the time we go to bed at night, it'll be a local story again.
Right, right. Go ahead. Like, so do you think that because it's a black kid, that's why they're trying not to make a big deal of it? But if it was a white child, it would have been a big deal.
Well, I'm a little bit pissed off, I gotta say, because YouTube
I think
just
it's the
struck my
opposite,
channel
actually.
for that whole video. So I feel like the whole suppression is coming for me now. But seriously, like there's the ton of fight videos on YouTube right now. Far worse than what you showed with those two kids. Like there's no blood, no stomping out, nobody got stabbed, nothing crazy. But I really do feel like when it comes to issues of like crime and a certain narrative, they do kind of want to tell a certain kind of story, regardless of what the facts are.
Right. I like I said, like listen, y'all, like thank God I had anime and video games and I had a good network circle of freaks and geeks to chill with. This letdowns is a thing in life, man. Either you're gonna stand up for yourself or not. And I know that's hard to say, but I don't think a lot of people know how to properly stand up for themselves. Um, again, this is just one little thing. I feel like I'm gonna be honest. If it had been a white kid, this thing would probably been all over the news about gun control. Because as a black kid, I don't think nobody wants that type of energy to deal with. And I'm not gonna lie. Like as I started to look more, shout out to Vegas who came up here. I mean, who came to the chat and stuff. One, did not see the economic thing coming. Two, did not see the neighborhood coming. Three, the amount of money this kind of kid had that jumps off in the Batmobile and comes back with a lawyer. That's some shit you never hear black kids doing. So this is the kind of black kid that's on YouTube streaming Fortnite and shit and watching anime and talking about how he wants to be Kamiya from goddamn like I did not see none of this shit coming, dude. This kid done broke all the molds of entitlement. He literally broke all the entitlement molds. So, I'm going to have a whole segment.
Well, black people don't have privilege.
So,
Yeah,
I'm
like you're way off just by saying that. No matter how rich he is not privileged. Ain't that ironic?
David, I don't want to give you that point, but okay. So I got to be a little bit messy. You and the Shell, y'all kind of had a back and forth about the father and the mother segment. Do you think it would have been different if the father had been there, or no, or literally that the mother did the best she could, or do you think, hey, I really think that both parents are already there, just that they're paying themselves like, hey, do not put us involved with this because too much money can get messed up. What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, honestly, it doesn't necessarily matter because, on the one hand, like, listen, you can fuck up coming from anywhere, but on the other hand, it would fit a very tried and true pattern of a certain type of household producing certain types of outcomes. So you can't ignore that shit.
Okay. All right. Brother Speak, welcome to the panel. What's your thoughts on all this? School shooter, Timothy, pretty much shot up the place, did his own damn thing. What's your thoughts with everything about this? I don't know.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Yep.
Yeah, well,
What's up, man?
it's very tragic again, and but it just goes to show you that uh, if you have access to a weapon and you don't want to look bad in front of people, yeah, you're gonna go get the gun. It's a common theme now, especially in just in society right now. It's like, well, nobody wants to take that ass whooping and look bad in front of everybody. So to get that power back, to feel like you're powerful again, that's when they go get the gun. So this is what this boy did. Um, I will say with her, sir, that when I first saw that story, when I saw you going live about it, I immediately thought, okay, white kid. Didn't know that. I mean, come on, that who's usually doing this kind of stuff?
I'm telling you, but
Hold on.
this is what. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, I just wanted to jump in real quick and point something out because that question right there, who's usually doing this kind of stuff, bro? I'm probably gonna have to switch my channel and do the stream on the other channel, but I've been coming up with this concept called community mythology, and that is one of the myths that it's the white kids making schools unsafe.
Well, we're not saying that. Well, the difference between, like I said, the blacks school when the black shooters going up there, and then the white shooters. Let's look who's getting who usually be the victims.
All
You go
right.
into black schools, it's usually that particular person, or it might be like a gang of people. Meanwhile, when you're dealing with the white shooters, everybody can get those bullets. Those bullets are ready to eat for everybody.
I'll
So
give you that. I'll give you that. The black shootings tend to be a little bit more personal, targeted, whereas like the
right.
typical white school shooter is a mass shooter of random, anger. I can accept that, but the thing is, do you think they put metal detectors in the schools because of the white kids shooting up schools, or because black kids bring guns to schools?
I don't know. Now, okay, so when it comes to that, right? Usually, and I would be honest, majority of white schools I've been in, I've never seen metal detectors in them damn motherfuckers. I really don't. Like, them parents be like, you're not gonna treat my son Kyle like an animal. We know Kyle on goddamn Ritalin and shit and Adderall, so you're not gonna put him like that. But when I've been in inner city schools, oh shit, I thought I then turned into goddamn county jail. I'm like, God damn, the fuck we at? Bologna and sandwiches and pizza rolls and shit. And they got damn snack machines all anchored down with cages and shit. I'm like, bro, who gonna steal the snack machine? But it's been done before. Somebody actually.
Well,
So,
where it goes back to who's involved in these schools. I mean, if you go into the white schools, typically they're more involved in their schooling of their children than black folks are. Black folks, due to economic situations, either they're working all the time or they're just, lazy and don't really give two shits. So the school district and the city or the county they live in, they could do whatever. And all the parents gonna do after the fact is come up there whining and complaining. White people, they are right there involved in their school. You try anything. The kid can come up there wearing a shirt, and that school don't want that shirt to be worn. Here comes these parents all up in arms. They're gonna make sure that their kids gonna be treated well by these teachers, whereas the other blacks not so much. Now, and this situation, I mean, it's like I don't not knowing that school. It seemed like if this dude got a lawyer on deck, that means they coming from a wealthy neighborhood, so that's kind of a school like that. So they probably never would have thought that somebody's going to be bringing a gun up in there. But like I said,
hang on, let me put this out there. We got some people from the school. They're in the chat. I just want y'all to know I'm glad that a lot of y'all are safe. A lot of y'all students are safe. Definitely thank y'all for the support. I'm glad y'all are safe. We got one that said that he got home safe. Another one that says that they made it out okay. Um, and some of them don't even know this dude. That's the thing about it. A lot of these people that get into these situations, nobody knows who the fuck they are, or they're like that kind of incognito type of person in the school. Like they're not, they're not in the popular table
No.
or where the emo table or the Yu-Gi-Oh card table. They're at, if that's even still a table anymore. They're just out there. And I mean, I really believe this is why I encourage a lot of adults. You gotta listen, man. You gotta teach. We gotta start teaching these young people social skills. Teach them social skills of interaction because listen, man, like life is gonna kick your ass, but it's how you go out doing it. Like I don't agree that you took a gun and you started shooting at innocent bystanders. Like if you would at least if you would man, I'm not trying to be for violence, but you didn't even get the guy that did you wrong, dude. You got everybody else but who the guy who did you wrong. Like that's what that happened when you have that blind rage stuff, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
go after anybody. Michelle, I know you've been quiet a little bit. Um, somebody said, and somebody shout out to Eva Perry. He said, did he get the gun from the hood? Did he get it from his father? To me, I don't think they check kids. I know they don't check people's cars when they drive them into the parking lot. Shit.
Oh, that's
No, but
impossible.
he had it in his backpack. And the rumor is going, okay, I want you guys to understand this area. When I said Mansfield is a very affluent area. 250 to above house. The former mayor of Mansfield lived in a gated community with an armed security guard. That is the kind of, you thinking this is a little bitty town. People in that little bitty town got some big money. But Timberview is also buttressed right up to Arlington, Texas. They're sister cities. Arlington, Texas plastered the freeway that runs in front of the school with apartments. A lot of those apartments have gone Section 8. They're saying that he came into Grand Prairie. Grand Prairie is the last city that has a hood. There's a place called Dal Worthington Garden that looks like Crenshaw. I mean, it's hardcore. Those little frame houses, wooden frame houses, that's what it is. And
it's just infatuation.
It's a 15-minute drive from Mansfield to an area that, like I said, it is Crenshaw. You got the houses that were built in 1954 that are hanging on by a prayer.
Well, that's another thing too. We don't know because obviously the guy who's doing the shooting is the obvious. He's obviously wrong in that particular element, right? But we don't know why he even got into this fight. Like maybe he was being an asshole the whole time and he just couldn't take his L. Like it could very well be he's did some shit and deserved to get beat up, and then you're supposed to just eat that.
I'm hearing from sources that he actually had gotten robbed the day before. A group of kids jumped him and robbed him. That he's a sweet, socially awkward kid that
Really
may have decided that he was just not going to take it anymore, and he knew that ass whooping was coming. But again, he didn't shoot the person that was whooping his behind.
Well, he didn't shoot the people that robbed him either, did he? I mean, no, we need more. We need more facts.
See, here's the thing about this, and like I said,
Well,
I'm just saying, man. Like, look, thank God I had Toonami. Damn it.
yeah,
like
me too.
at some point, you gotta have some kind of like. This is household account. I gotta call that as household accountability. When my kid comes through that door, and what's going on, Vaughn? When my kid comes through that door, as any parent, you're supposed to ask your kid how's school. Then you're supposed to go do more digging and say, hey, let me go by and see what's going on at that school. And That's what you're supposed to do. Was he? What was the like? There's so many things. Like, I understand what David is saying, but what was the communication with him and his parents? Like, were you telling your parents that you got beat up, you got jumped? I mean, you had money, so it's hard to give him that.
You know what I find very strange, and I'm looking for it left and right. Obviously, the parents were able to contact an attorney or the kid, however they arranged it. But did you notice one thing? Normally, there would be somebody on the news saying, my kid's a good kid. I'm sorry. Please help us bring him in alive. But there was not one.
No,
Maybe
I
the kid
think it
called
happened
his
too
parents.
fast.
It
What
started at
happened?
9
Because
o'clock
there
in
was
the
a
morning.
standoff.
He didn't
There
9
was a
o'clock to
standoff
1
after
o'clock.
he fled, and I think they got him at his house because they were outside his house. So it's not like
No, they were outside his house, but he actually turned himself into the police station. Showed up with his lawyer and turned himself in.
That man had time to go get to repent.
right. So why would they even be making statements? Like they knew what they were doing.
The parents, I must tell you like this, that when the shooting happened in downtown Dallas involving the police officers, yes, they lawyered up real quick, but they were also, the mamas were also on the news trying, because there were yahoos out to get people. There were yahoos out to get people. I mean, I cannot tell you how scared the guy was trying to turn himself in. He covered himself up in the car so he wouldn't be seen. So these manhunts in Texas are often very, very aggressive. They had
As they
roads
should
blocked
be.
off left and right.
I mean, I'm not digging into sympathy for the guy under a manhunt, so I can accept that.
Well, can I ask a question? Okay, so the people he did shoot, is there any guarantee that these people would didn't mess with him before? Because it seemed like you said this dude was socially awkward and he had got robbed before. Is there any guarantee that the people that he did shot, we're assuming that these people that were bullying him beforehand?
Possible.
Well, he
I mean,
shot
it's
one
possible.
teacher.
Huh?
I
It
mean, I'm
wouldn't
saying
matter
like
though.
this. He shot one teacher. So I'm going to take the teacher out of the equation of somebody that was bullying him. Teacher, the teacher
I
came in
wouldn't.
response. The teacher came in response to hearing the pregnant teacher. The classroom teacher was pregnant and she was screaming for help. And he heard the screams and he came running and he got shot.
Okay, so we could, yeah, all right.
A
We could
girl
take
in
What's
the
up,
that.
class,
everybody?
and then there's a 15-year-old boy in critical condition right now. So praying
Yeah,
for the boy in critical condition, praying for his family, because
yeah.
yeah, I mean, this school, like I said, is in such an affluent area that there are calls from the governor to Ted Cruz. A lot of different people are interested in this area because, again, you got a lot of taxpayers in that area, and they're going to cause a stink. That yes, Sharon and Karen are going to be at the next Mansfield Independent School District meeting. They just gonna be there.
Yeah, he done.
What's up, y'all? What up, BNT? Thank you for having me on. I'ma just say, as a person that got into fights pretty much every day, um, up until high school, cause I end up going to a private high school. I'ma just say that you know, and I'm not. I'm not in at all excusing this boy behavior, but it's a lot of kids like myself, BMT. Either you know, you either stood up or you got stomped on. But I'm also say these teachers are complicit in the bullying that goes on because at my middle school, um, you had teachers that were friends with the Pookies and the Ray Rays, and they would cover up a lot of the altercations until it got so big or out in front of an area where there was a lot of cameras But there were plenty of blind spots in the school, you know, and they were passing along these kids because it was an understanding that a lot of these kids were performing below grade level. Um, Especially the black kids. Now the white kids in the school, the honor roll, honor society, and you had a few that were black, mostly girls, honor roll, honor society, and for the brothers and sisters that was in the middle that was trying to get there, that life was hell because you had to pick between. Because me personally, you gonna have to turn my TV off. I let a lot of stuff slide. I made it all the way to be 30 years old. Um, you know what I'm saying? Been on my job for the last 10 years, and it's a lot of people that should have got their ass whooped, but I didn't want to get kicked out of my school because you had the teachers colluding. Because if they kick out, let's just paint this scenario. If they kicked out all the Pookies and the Ray Rays, and the Shanays and the Shaniquas and the Bonquiquis, if they kicked out all of them, how much of that, however many thousands of students would you have left? That's
Hey,
not. Go
I
ahead.
wanted to add something to you. I wanted to add something to what you just said about the teachers being complicit. There's complicity in another element too. You guys remember a few years ago during the Obama administration, Jesse Jackson got involved too. He tried to say that they were punishing the black kids. They were suspending black kids too much. They were kicking black kids out of school for things that other kids, the white kids would just get a warning for or something like that. Like that's the narrative that goes along with that kind of thing that Jesse Jackson and the Obama administration pretty much fell in line with it too. But they focused on, I think, places in Florida in particular. And what wound up happening is because schools were afraid to get that sort of Black Lives Matter social justice attention, they just stopped reporting the levels of violence that are actually commonplace in black schools. I mean, look, you get chased off of YouTube if you talk about this stuff too much. Shout out to Colin Flaherty. When I was new to YouTube years and years and years ago, that's when he was still on YouTube, and he focused on just black crime, black mob violence, as he likes to call it, and black schools in particular. He had this one book that's probably what got him chased off YouTube called "Don't Make the Black Kids Angry," and it talked about how crazy the violence in your typical black high school is. It's like the dirty little secret nobody wants to look square in the eye.
So,
Was,
so at that time,
was he black?
yeah, he
Colin
was,
Flaherty, no, he's a white guy.
okay,
Okay, well that probably be the biggest problem.
yeah,
It's
Of
coming from
course
a
it
white
was.
people.
No,
Of
it's
course.
going down with the white kids too. It's just, again,
that's
because these teachers are not making a whole lot of money, they're
No.
sweeping a lot of it under the rug. Because you got to think, teachers making 30, maybe $40,000 to be in the school with
Hmm.
your badass kids. Excuse me, BMT, but
what you asked the
think
question.
about it.
You asked the question if they would have kicked them kids out, which I can promise you, looking at that type of school, I don't think they would hesitate kicking out a kid out of that kind of school. They wouldn't hesitate.
Well, then comes the question where they're gonna go. Because
Right. That's
now,
why
if
they
they're
wouldn't
not in
let
the
you kick them out.
school,
They have
if they're in
alternative.
the school, they're in the neighborhood.
They have alternative school. They have alternative school.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
send them to Battle Royale High. Let them go kick the shit out of each other at
Yeah,
their school,
Alternative.
and let the kids who want to learn. Like, I feel like
yeah,
that's what needs to happen. Like, if my daddy decided to leave my mama, who's a high earner or who's an entrepreneur or who's a hustler or who's made sacrifices for me, like, y'all need to get y'all butts up out of here. If y'all want to kill each other, if y'all want to have sex in the hallways, if y'all want to whatever you want to do, twerk, whatever you want to do. And I'm in this month trying to learn and play. Like, I couldn't even bring a comic book to school or a magazine to school or my Yu-Gi-Oh cards to school to play with my friends because my mama like, oh, they gonna take it from you. They gonna take it from you. They gonna, because the broke kids or the kids that they was wearing, and You know, I was that type of guy that was like, man, look, you come over my house. I ain't had no until somebody tried to put their hands on me. I'm like, bro, you know, but they took their anguish out because their mamas was out here partying and fighting and doing everything else. They
Well,
was out here, they brothers was out here getting shot and killed. I can't, it ain't my fault. Like, it ain't my fault.
so what they
It
got to
ain't
Yeah.
my fault.
Well,
So
okay
if I and now if I
right
jump
here.
on his head and stomp on his head, and I'm the problem. I got the mental problem. I'm the one that, cause see, that's what we don't people don't want to talk about, is that these damn teachers in these schools is sweeping this under the rug.
yeah,
And
that's
then
the
and the
thing that
private schools
happens.
ain't no better neither. Cause when I
If
went to
you
the
get
private school, it was the same. It was the same thing. Only thing was you couldn't fight. So your Joan game had to be impeccable. So that they would start when I got to high school, they start passing rumors, and I was never allowed to go kick it. BFT,
I don't
was
know.
you allowed to go kick it with the homies? So
Yeah,
how I know who smashed who at such and such house when I wasn't even over there?
I was I
Answer
was
me that question.
I was allowed to.
Oh, okay. Well, your mama nice. Than mine.
I was allowed to. It was
Well, that that comes to the question. Okay, you pick all these kids out, and there's only so many alternative
I'm
schools that
not
you have.
I'm not wasting my opportunity. Y'all can talk about y'all memory lane and shit on another time. We got kids here. We got people here from the high school that want to ask a question. Y'all can go ahead and ask the question. I want to keep it here on to that. I know y'all going through y'all memory lane thing, but we got to stay on to the Timothy Simpkins. This is an entitled kid. This is not no kid from y'all area. He's not poor. He's not from no underbelly. This kid has money. This kid has privilege. This kid probably wouldn't even hang with y'all. Like this kid has his own shit. He chose to run around claiming gangs and all kind of shit what he was not. He wanted to be part of a certain type of lifestyle that he was not part of. That's the
well,
thing.
BMT
What's
in
up?
the video, the guy that was beating him up, because it was a dark skinned kid pretty much beating him up, and so the light skinned kid is the one that's what's his name, Simpleton, whatever, Simpson. Sorry, forgive me, but the light skinned kid.
How is he light skinned? He's not light skinned.
Well, I mean, because he's lighter than the
He
other guy.
brown.
I'm
He
just saying
brown
that.
skin. He brown
I'm
Yeah,
just
skin.
he's
saying it
Other
for
brown.
for
boys.
for
He look
definition.
like
Yeah.
he a little lighter than I am.
Yeah, just say two black kids. Don't give a shit
Well,
about.
I'm only saying that to kind of split them apart for the sake of the video here. But the one kid's beating up the other kid, and he's not even a kid though. And the whole issue of it kind of it starts to raise questions of he wasn't a gang. First of all, the dark skinned kid, that's what you said to kind of make me jump in. The dark skinned guy was the one saying on blood, so we don't even know if the young light skinned kid was even in a gang or not, because the dark skinned one is the one saying on blood. He's the one claiming blood affiliation, if you really want to go down that path.
Now
Oh,
hold
but that's
on. Be
something.
Go
No,
ahead.
that's
Go ahead.
something they say. That's something the kids say down here. They'll,
That's what,
yeah, you know how people used to say on my mama? They'll say
Right,
on
right.
blood, on blood. That they're trying to
Yes.
say they are actually totally committed to what they're saying and doing. It's like on blood,
Right. That's
man.
why I don't necessarily buy the gang activities just yet. I mean, it's possible, but not. You got to have evidence of that. Because even from like the pictures that have been released of him, there's been no obvious pictures of the kid with like gang signs and guns on his Instagram. Like it might come out, but I haven't seen it yet.
I'm gonna say this, and somebody asked a good question. So, how do we as parents deal with our kids that are being bullied? Cool. And I'm glad you asked that question. You actually have to be hands on in the school. Like you got to be like waist deep in there, where they cannot remove you. And what I mean by that, because there's certain people who put their influence in the school, to where if something happens to the school, there will be repercussions. Same thing needs to happen for you. If Mr. Peter, if you have a child in that school that is dealing with issues and it's being known, pull the news involved. Say, hey, I talked to y'all. If you can't do nothing of what's going on, then I'm gonna have to bring it to the news forefront. Social media pressure on schools like that, and Michelle and I will tell you, I promise you, there will be
And what will the school do after that point? Now that you got them on blast, what are they supposed to do then?
If your
see
kid come home and he or she didn't got beat up,
or
then they already know it's a green light that we putting it on the phone, we putting it on camera, and we showing that, hey, this I'm paying all this money to live out here in this affluent neighborhood, but you still got these Pookie and Ray Rays up here, or these kids that's trying to act like that. Um, but I'm gonna flip it to the other
That
side.
wasn't the question, bro. That wasn't the question. What is the school supposed to do after that? Now that they
the
on
school
blast and the
the
cameras out, what
school
do you want the
the
school to do?
school needs to start vetting the kids that go in there. And if you
That
got
kid.
kids running around here beating up people, they constantly getting suspended, they constantly in ISS, it needs to be a zero tolerance policy in effect. Because then if the kids start fighting, because like I said, in my high school, you had a zero tolerance. If you got into a fight in my high school and they reserved the right, there was zero tolerance. It was only one time in the 4 years I was there. Um, but city schools ain't gonna do that because at private schools are paying the salary.
that is a
So
I
fact.
city
think we
schools
might
ain't
be.
gonna do that. City schools
Well,
ain't gonna do that because it's if you eliminate the kid, that's money that they don't get from the state.
That's a public school.
yeah,
So
I think we might be going about this the wrong way. I mean, because if you look at the history of like education and educational theory and all that whatnot, we've been getting the kids away from conflict. We've been trying to teach our kids that they are supposed to exist in a world where there is no conflicts. And so when they get confronted with aggressive conflict, they crumble, they fold, they stand there and they let the other guy beat on them. I think we're probably doing our kids a disservice by teaching them that a bully is just not supposed to exist. And then if you ever get confronted with a bully, you have to run, hide, and go get a teacher. You should teach the kids to defend themselves.
You teach
Bullies have to be confronted, and that's the only way. And not that it have to be confronted, but for your personal growth as that child, you really want to be the adult who always runs off the teacher anytime he gets in conflict with another peer? Like, imagine an adult that makes you.
now. So the thing about that, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, conservative. However, that comes down to emotional and also self interest of the person wanting to stand up for themselves. That's a fight or flight type of thing, where either it's like being on the mats. If you've ever been on the mats, I can show you what to do, but mentally, if you can't push yourself through the threshold to do it, everything I just taught you is for nothing. And I actually have trained and taught people on the mats. When a situation happens, they freeze or they don't do shit, or they literally just put their hands up and just block. And I'm like, yo, you can strike. You got this. I know. Like everybody
But
makes it easier, but it's not because literally that's the case. I've seen big guys who are big, they're like babies. And I've seen small guys, they're like goddamn Dobermans. They do not let up. So
but hold on, we're talking past the point because either way, once two guys get into a fight, there can pretty much be only one winner. That's not the point I'm trying to make here. It's about how you deal with conflict in general. Like, you don't have to fight every bully that presents himself, but you kind of need the confidence to handle yourself in the face of bullies. Whether or not you get physical is beside the point. And I will go even further. Having the confidence to handle yourself will keep you from getting into physical conflicts. That whole thing about what martial artists, they learn to fight so
emotional.
they don't have to fight.
That comes down to emotional. That comes down to no offense.
But it
yeah,
has to be trained though. You can't just expect them to be that way.
but you can train all day long. But what BMT said, until you get pushed to a place that what I'm saying. Like my people showed me how to fight. It wasn't until I went to karate class, in at the end, like going into middle school, like after having several fights, and even then, I was like, I would let a lot of stuff slide, but I
Exactly.
got with I got with a great teacher
You
that
you
broke me down.
And what did the teacher do for you, bro?
I
the whole
mean, he pretty much told me, basically saying what BMT is saying. It's like, are you gonna just freeze up? Or are you just gonna sit there and really let
Oh,
your
so
you?
so he helped you embrace it. That's my point. Like, you guys are
Yeah,
talking past exactly what I'm saying. You need to teach this. It doesn't just fall out of your ass, bro. That's
whole
why people go to
but
training.
but
conservative.
even still, it took a certain threshold
Hey,
for me to get to,
God
for
damn.
me to go do it.
Why
Like it took a like. It took him every day hitting me with a bow staff in my legs and in kicking me in my back and hitting that mat till I just started snapping on him. Like I learned the sequences and everything else. Like, and he had the other senseis like double team me and everything else. It took that. So the very next fight that I got in, like I had to stop myself from basically turning that dude TV off because
Can
I
I
was
can I
ready
point
to
something out to
unload.
you, bro?
Yeah.
You just went through a trial of manhood, and it made you better. That's all I'm discussing here. Maybe I'm using wrong language. Maybe I'm being I can't communicate properly, but you understand what I mean because you lived it.
Okay,
If I may.
the thing about it, again, everybody doesn't have the same threshold. Everybody does not have the same gauge. Literally, again, you can say, "Hey, we'll go fight the bully." Yeah, and there's people that can fight the bully. They choose not to. Some people are passive and they have aggressive. So you're gonna have different sides of where you're going to swing. I could kill people very easily. It wouldn't fluent me. But the thing about it is, I'm way more passive now. The thing about it is, people say things to me all the time. I watch men on panels can't even hear what another man says, and they flip out, start screaming and yelling. And I'm like, well, if you can't handle what that man says on a panel, what the fuck was he like when he was a kid? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't, like I said, I get what you're saying, sir. But we're talking about teenagers that literally are going through pubescent hormone changes.
If I
So,
may.
what is your
If I may.
alternative?
You know, honestly, this is just humanity. This is just humanity. I know you're looking for a solution, but welcome to humanity. There really isn't a fucking solution for this. Excuse my language. There really isn't a solution to these type of things. But this has been something since the beginning.
BMT, I got one. I got one. The
Go for
solution
it.
is if there's a if there a lot of times, and I'm gonna just say for myself, a lot of times kids got to start picking up on who the bullies are. They got to pick up if they try to introduce themselves because a lot of times, in a lot of cases, these people were trying to be friends with the people that didn't like them, and that's why they got into it. You know what I'm saying? That's the main. It could be a bully indiscriminately doing it. You know, where this guy or this girl could be walking home and something could happen. That does happen, but more often than not, because I did my research and pulling from past experience, I was trying to be cool with these kids, and I remember the sister said earlier that there are kids that are trying to be gang members so that they can get in where they be popular. You know what I'm saying? I had cousins that were raised up in the church, raised up, as academics. They hood stars. You know what I'm saying? They threw all of that away so they could be popular and they could get likes on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and everything else.
Can I just chime in real quick?
What's up?
Well, the thing is I was glad that David brought up what he did because I'd been sitting and listening while I was taking care of the kids, and I had heard nobody bring up what he did. And what he brings up is a good and very valid point. You gotta understand we are in a situation where probably starting a couple decades ago we started with this participation narrative that we were teaching kids, where we were teaching kids that everybody's supposed to be equal, everybody's supposed to treat everybody as equal, everybody's supposed to have the same fair shake, and this, that, and the other, and have the same outcome of everything. Which that in and of itself has declined the social pecking order that we all learned when we were in school. That's something that these kids aren't learning anymore. They're not learning the pecking order that we all were taught and how to deal with that. The first time somebody comes at them negative and treats them as if they're different or they're not accepted, this is what happens. When we were kids, I'm 42. When I was a kid, you didn't have this issue with kids getting pissed off because they got bullied and bringing guns to school and shooting up the school. You didn't start having this issue until they started to try and make kids treat each other as if they were equal. There is a certain level of conflict and a certain level of, bully that everybody has to go through in life in order to learn how to deal with life. Because real life outside of school is 10 times worse than what school is.
Where did it start happening where kids started saying that each kid is equal? Because last
In
time,
my generation,
I
the
don't,
last 10, 15 years, because I'm 30, about to be 31 here in a couple of weeks. I can tell you they were doing that, like I said, because they wanted to keep the kids in the schools because the teachers and the staff and the faculty wasn't getting no money.
no.
You know, I'm older than just about everybody else on this panel.
Michelle, like when did they start having when kids say they're equal? But last time I checked, you came to school looking like a fucking bum. Them other kids would tease the shit out of you. They didn't give a damn.
We're talking about
That's when
the
they started doing the
participation
uniform.
trophy era, bro.
Joe,
Participation trophies, that thing.
Joe.
I never heard no kids say that stuff. Go ahead.
Dude,
Joe,
you don't understand
my kids, I raised my kids already. When my kids were about third grade, we sent my kids were in private school for a while, so they had uniforms. They were just used to uniforms. But then the public schools started saying things like, oh, well, we need to start school uniforms because clothing is becoming a distraction. People are getting hurt. And they even started legislating what type of shoes you could wear because kids were getting jumped for their shoes. I thought it was a sad situation. But again, you had a lot of kids. I mean, I've taken my kids out of school when they started giving them participation trophies because they were always winning. And, there's the whole, you think you're better than me. I tell people all the time, I'm 36, 24, 36. I had 3 kids. Hell yeah, you fat ass bitch. I do think I'm better than you because I worked hard at it.
And everybody has the right to feel that way if they worked hard, but that participation trophy mentality are teaching kids that isn't the case.
So,
but it's also the thing, like I told my kids,
not be around rich, affluent kids.
My kids knew one thing, and every one of their teachers knew one thing. Every teacher had my cell phone. I had every teacher's cell phone. I knew who you were. Beginning of the school year, knew who the parents were. The parents that, were up at the school all the time, I need to know what my kids are doing. I will fly up to that school so fast it's not even funny. But you do have educators. One of the schools I took my kids out of, a little boy body slammed my daughter's friend. My daughter put her body over the little girl to keep her from getting further injured. He was trying to kick her. So I get called up to the school, and the brother is like, well, we're hoping that the parents won't press charges. We would hate to have another strike on a young black man's record. Fuck that shit. You're going to tell me this child, he was still a child, if at 16, he is sitting up there body slamming a girl, she wound up fractured skull, and my daughter had bruises on her. It was like, parents, I'm not trying to be funny. I know you can't control your kid 24/7, but I can control my kids. We're out of this school.
Well, look, Michelle, you're actually literally kind of proving the point that I'm trying to make. Even the schools sitting here coddling kids and trying to, get parents to not press charges if a kid makes a stupid mistake. You're literally telling kids that they can make mistakes without having to deal with the consequences of them, and that's why we get where we're at.
Yeah, because they start making their decisions become worse and worse. They get away with one thing, and then they escalate to the point where the young man that they could have done something to help him. No, he's in jail. He's lucky he's not dead.
Michelle, can I ask you, how often do you think this happens, and how long do you think this has been happening? This attitude of, well, I don't want to put a mark on another young black man's life, and so I'm going to let him get away with a crime. Like, you realize this is not new. Like, that's basically the thinking that's been applied to schools for a long time.
I won't tell you the name. I won't tell you the name of the person. I went to school with someone that is very well known. But because of the school that we went to a magnet school. And we were targeted day in and day out. We were the smart kids, and the kids wanted to beat our asses every day. But I got into a fight one day in physics, and we had this little guy that came in from like General Dynamics. You know, he's definitely a white collar worker that is doing his civic duty, volunteering to teach kids college level physics. And we get into a fight, and because we were so surrounded by ghettoism, we'd seen guys get their eye socket punched out. We'd seen guys stabbed. I mean, chairs were broken. We knew how hard these kids fought because they had nothing to lose. So I carried a box cutter with me every day, and she carried a butterfly knife.
Somebody asked a question about mixing like different classes of kids together, and that's a whole conversation about like if you take the kids who are let's say not the brightest kids in the world, and then you mix them in a group of the highest achieving kids, in the hopes that you'll get the less bright kids to clean up their acts. What you find out happens is those kids become like a gravity sink and just lower the overall productivity and the comfort level of the regular kids. So there is the whole conversation to be had about mixing those Section 8 kids into that nice, wealthy neighborhood.
It's not so much about the socioeconomics. It is about because there are a lot of poor, smart kids.
Exactly. I was going to say I'm a Section 8 kid that went to a wealthy school.
Yeah, but what you do have is if kids are not being challenged by the teacher, they're not being challenged to be the best and brightest. I don't care if you are in, the special needs class. You need to be the best in that special needs class. But instead,
I think it goes beyond that. I think it goes more to this whole idea that if you aren't treated as equal, you can claim a victimhood status. It's hurting our kids.
I also think it's also that in these situations, I agree with David to a point that you don't want to be saving these kids every time they're getting bullied. But the problem is that a lot of these teachers show favoritism to some of these bullies.
That's part of life, though. I even went through that. I didn't go and shoot up the school because the teachers treated me like shit.
No, right. What are you supposed to do as that kid in that situation? What do you do?
Then the kids need to
saying that.
Go ahead,
like for example, my coworker, she had an issue. Her son was getting bullied, so she taught her son to fight back. So one day, this kid went after him, and he was bigger than him. So he took a chair and clocked that boy upside the head. The school they weren't going to punish the kid that got clocked in the head, who was the bully, who been bullying. They were going to suspend him, suspend the son that was defending himself. But they weren't going to do nothing to him. That's what the teacher was going to do. She literally had to raise hell and was going to even report them, so both would get the equal punishment. That's
man. Let me ask you a question. Man to man, do you accept that there are certain truths, there are certain actions you will take and you will suffer for?
Well, yeah.
Are you willing to suffer to do the right thing?
But here's the thing.
You teach your kids that. And he learned a hard lesson, bro. You have to suffer sometimes. That's life. You have to learn to process it and move on. That's
not where I'm going with it. If you're going to be fair, you need to be fair across the board as a teacher.
But that's not right.
You can't show favoritism towards, especially one that's a bully. You show favoritism
like
to a bully.
The question becomes:
how can we sit and expect our teachers? How can you expect schools to teach your kids everything that they need to know, and then sit and say that they got to be fair to everyone, and not teach them that life's not fair?
Life is not fair, but at the same time, you're saying life is not fair. How are the teachers supposed to know who is bullying whom? They're not able to see what's going on.
But they don't. The cops don't always know who the criminals are. You have to protect yourself.
Okay, exactly. So you're telling me this big old they knew this boy, and this is from the coworker. They knew this boy was bullying other kids. So if you're gonna tell me they both get in a fight, one's going to get more punishment than the other, that's showing favoritism.
Well, he should
But
have
that's
got
the
up
way
on
the
the
law
floor
is.
and clocked him right
Favoritism.
then and there, right
You
there,
But that's
can't
the
show
way
convict him.
the law
favoritism
is.
to one kid over another.
But that is the way the law is. If it's called proportional force. I cannot. It's just because somebody slaps me, I can't take out a gun and shoot them. I
Okay,
have.
but if that
It has
kid
to
is
be
bigger than
proportional.
me, if the
Whether they're
kid is
bigger than
bigger
you
than
or not, whether they're bigger than you or not, you can sit
no,
up there
but
and
that wasn't a law decision. That was a school decision.
the
That's what I'm
school
trying to say.
decision.
Okay,
Right,
but
the
that
school
they ain't the
decisions
law.
go along with the law.
They ain't the law.
But the school
That's not the,
decision.
you can't suspend one kid and you can't suspend one kid and the other kid you're not going to suspend.
Well,
You're
It
let
gonna
me ask
give
depends
one
this:
the
on
why
what
bullet.
is it?
they've done.
Let me
That,
ask
that,
this
It depends
question:
on
Why does it? Why is
punishment
it?
fits the crime.
Why is it that today we have more schools that look like prisons, that have video surveillance all the way around them? They have metal detectors in them. They have fucking school resource officers walking up and down the halls. And the majority of schools in America, but yet we have more problems with school shootings now than we did before we had all this shit.
Okay, first of all, we do not have all that stuff in all these schools.
We do have, this is more prevalent in schools now than it ever was.
Depends on what
But you
school.
also have, whether you like it or not, you have less involved parents. That I know. When I was a kid, my mother got phone calls about what I was doing on my way home from school. It was teachers were not afraid to call the parents. They were not afraid to come to the parents' house. So I shopped around for schools where the teachers knew where I lived, had no problems coming by after school, telling me to come up to the school, no problems whatsoever. Now, at the end of the day, I'm a very involved parent, but I know my husband was like, this is just too much. Why we got to do all this? My mama didn't do this for me. Why I got to do this for them? And I'm like, my mom was a single mother. My father died, but my mother made sure that she was very much involved in my school life. And if she couldn't be there, she arranged for someone else to be there. So I was, I had the eye of the hawk on me 24/7. And I think a lot of parents get that whole, I don't want to be raised like my parents raised me. They were too strict. I want my kids to have fun. So let's put part of the blame on a mama, because
And
I
yeah,
know when my kids,
and yes, I want to answer the one dude's question. Yes, absolutely. The dude that was defending himself and went in and shot up the school, absolutely, he should be punished for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's just, when my kids had bullies, I had no problem finding out who the kid was, who their parent was. We're going to find this out.
And not only that, even if you get into a fight with a bully in school and you're defending yourself, yes, absolutely, you should still be punished. You know the rule is that you ain't supposed to fight in school. That's a consequence of your actions. And unfortunately, we have kids that are not being taught how to deal with consequences.
Well, the thing of it is, if you're going to do that, they need to be punished, then everybody need to be punished equally. Just like
did I say that they should?
No. Let me tell you why I say that. My mother had a simple rule. She said, don't fight at school. And if you do happen to get in a fight at school, you better win it, because I'd hate for you to get 2 ass whoopings in one day. You have a chance of winning the fight at school, but you're not going to win the fight at home. So that's
message. Something that we already knew growing up in school, that if you got in a fight, whether you were the one that started the fight or you were the one finishing the fight, that you were going to get suspended from school.
Okay. Right. And you're going to get your ass whooped when you got home. You were going to get your ass whooped when you got home. There was no ifs, and buts about it. You weren't just going to, no television, I'm going to take we're going to take your cell phone. No. You want to fight, you want to start laying hands, deal with me then.
Okay, but my issue is not the whole about the bullying and all that kind of stuff. My issue is, if you're going to have rules, it needs to be across the board.
Nobody's saying that they shouldn't, brother, speak, but unfortunately, the truth of life is that
that's not what's happening in these schools.
Schools aren't always fair,
and that's part of the problem too. They'll give this person one punishment. They'll give this one less punishment because they like them or they're afraid of them. You can't have stuff like that, and that's part.
But unfortunately, that's life.
Issues.
It's life, dude.
No, but
And also, it
if
comes
you
down
are
to,
an authority figure, you're
did you
not
hear?
supposed to do that.
You're saying what they're not
Like,
supposed to do. Can you give us an
okay,
example of where they are doing that? See, this is where we get
I just
sidetracked. We have,
I gave you a situation. I just told you one
you said
where
the
these
bully,
kids, the
he hit
bully
him
was
with a
not
chair.
going to get suspended. The bully was not going to get suspended at all. The boy that was being bullied and defending himself was.
Did
So
he? Let me,
how is that equal and fair if
it's
you're going
real
to have a
simple.
situation? No,
It's
that's
not
not.
equal and fair, but unfortunately,
Hey,
life ain't
It's
equal
real,
and
but
fair, and you
it's
need to
okay,
learn how
simple.
to
but,
deal with
It
it.
but
depends on what
if you're
you
going to
do
have a
in response
situation,
to the bullying.
okay,
If
but
I sit up there, if I sit up there, if I sit up there and I saw this, and I'll
wait,
never forget. I saw a guy
but
get into a fight and he busted the guy's eye out of the eye socket. Now, should he get the same punishment as the guy who just basically punched him? You know,
yes,
straight up?
absolutely,
No,
No,
you should.
no,
no, you
Because
should
if
not.
you the
no,
one
We don't
started the
know.
fight, you get the
I,
same punishment. You should get the
No,
no,
same
if
punishment.
you
You
no.
sit up
started the
there
fight.
and bust my like a dude, this dude had, and I was in 6th grade, right before I got sent to this karate school, this Cobra Kai karate school. Um, this dude had hit me in the mouth, right, and my teeth got caught up on my lip. Like he ain't bust my lip, but because of the way he hit me, he thought he took me down. I still got up and ran down on his ass, and he thought, oh damn, Killzone down for the count. Nah, buddy, I saw like the teacher had to come save him, and the teacher liked him. He was an asshole, being him cool now because he's like, bro, you crazy as hell. Well, every time anybody I knocked down, never got back up.
You just
So
making my point for me, bro. This is what happens when you
Right,
stand up for yourself.
right.
exactly.
So
I
You,
I
So
get
you know,
you.
why do most
no,
people think about this? Why do most people that don't like the school system send their kids to school? For the the social aspect of it, so their kids can learn how to not be socially awkward and learn how to socialize with other people. Well, part of that socialization is learning that shit just isn't fair, and you got to learn how to deal with it in a
I'm
positive way.
okay. We get all.
it is
I'm not saying nothing against that, but my issue is if you're going to say, well, we're going to have these rules and we're going to protect these children, you can't show favoritism. That's where my issue comes in. You can, especially if you're going to
But
show
all that's doing,
favoritism to
oh,
the
dude,
bully.
you know
If
what?
you're
if a
going to
kid, hold
show
on, if
favoritism to the bully, and then and then you wonder why the kids are bringing guns in the school because nobody's trying to protect them from these bullies, and they favoring the bully. What you think gonna happen?
Well, you know how you fix that problem if there's an issue with that in your school. You join the school board.
yep, and
Exactly.
then you need to
I,
make sure your
I,
kids know how to defend themselves, and they need to right then. There is no
I,
coming back. Right then, he needs to
I,
kick off in that kid's behind. He need to grab whatever he needs to
I,
grab. He need to do what he needs to
BMT's
do to
trying to
defend
close it
himself.
out,
Case
folks.
closed.
I'm
Hey,
already.
BMT's trying to close it out.
Really kept saying I've ended the show 10 minutes ago. Everybody was just going on. If you would like to do the show, you can go over to my friend David's channel or take it over to Michelle or DJ Killzone. Y'all, literally, I thank you guys for coming through, but we have to end the show. I can't do like the news where they just turn on the music and sing, dun, 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 and we're in the show. They usually just do it. I didn't know they did that until somebody told me. But I'll see you guys later. I hope y'all had a good time. All the stuff from video to everything that you want to see, description below. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
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 all right.
Good job, guys.